Hi, it's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this really easy baby dress. This size is a 3 to 6 month size. I only have it in this one size. If you wanted a larger size, you can move up a hook size to get a 6 to 9 month size. But let me drop the camera down and I'll go over the yarn that I used, the hook size, and everything that you'll need to make this really sweet baby dress. Okay, now that we got the camera moved down a little, we can get a closer look at the top of this dress. The top and the back use single crochet. And I use these cute little heart buttons. You can use whatever buttons that you would like. You can embellish it with some type of an applique, or if you want to put a ribbon around the waistband, whatever you like to do, you can embellish this dress any way you wish. The skirt of the dress is done with a double crochet V-stitch. This is a very versatile little dress. It can be worn as is, like this, in the summertime. You could put a t-shirt under it and maybe some leggings and use it in the fall as a fall dress or a spring dress. So it's a really cute, versatile dress, very easy, very simple to make. So let's get out the yarn that I used to made it. I used Lion Brand's Comfy Cotton. This is the actual skein of yarn that I used to work the white part of the dress. It's called Whipped Cream, the color. It is a lightweight 3 yarn, though I really think this is closer to a medium 4 than a 3. You be the judge of that. You get 392 yards per skein. This is a cotton, 50% cotton, 50% polyester blend, so it shouldn't be too hot for the summertime. But yet it still should be nice in the fall as well. I like this yarn. It's really easy to work with, so I don't think you'll have too many issues working with this yarn. But again, you don't have to use this yarn. You can use whatever lightweight 3 yarn you choose. The color that I used for the skirt portion is Blueberry Muffin. Now you will use most of this skein. I have just this little ball right here left. Set those aside. You will want a H 5.0 millimeter hook for this project. If you want a larger size, this is a 3 to 6 month dress. If you want a 6 to 9 month dress, you're going to want an I 5.5 millimeter hook. So you're going to want to move up a hook size. I think with this particular yarn, you're not going to have any issues with it. You want your scissors. You are going to need a yarn needle. So you're going to want one with a large enough eye to get that yarn through. I used stitch markers when I was putting together the top of the dress, and you'll see in the tutorial. Or you can have some pins. Really up to you. So once you have all your supplies together, let's get started. To start the top of the dress, we're going to start with a chain of 21. Starting second chain from hook, we're going to start with a single crochet. Now I like to flip my chain over. Let me just drop our camera down here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I like to flip my chain over and work in the back bars of the chain. You don't have to do this. This is just how I like to work on my chain, particularly my starting chain, particularly when I'm working in a garment. I believe it gives you a better finished edge, but again, this is optional. So we're going to go second chain from hook with a single crochet. We're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch or each chain all the way across the chain. I will meet back up with you at the end of the chain. I'm at the end of the chain. We have 20 stitches. To start row 2, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and in that very first stitch, we're going to place 2 single crochets. In the remaining stitches all the way across, we're going to place 1 single crochet. This is going to increase our row by 1 stitch. So when we get to the end of the row, we're going to have 21 stitches. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of row 2. We have 21 stitches. To start row 3, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and repeat row 2. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in that first stitch, and 1 single crochet in each of the remaining stitches. This should give us a total of 22 stitches at the end of this row. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of row 3. We now have 22 stitches. To start row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now from here on, from row 4 to row 13, we're going to repeat row 2. Each row is going to increase by 1 stitch. By the time you get to row 13, you should have 32 stitches in row 13. So again, repeating row 2, you're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in each of the remaining stitches. Piece of fuzz. For rows 4 through 13, with row 13 having 32 stitches. I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 13. I'm at the end of row 13. I have 32 single crochets. We're going to go ahead and fasten this off. Now what we need to do is we need to make another one exactly like this, but at the end of that one, do not fasten off. I will meet back up with you when you have a second one exactly like this made, but do not fasten off. Okay, now that we have both our pieces done, we're going to connect the 2 pieces for the bodice of the dress. The best way I can describe how to do this is take your hook out, and you're going to want to put a stitch marker in. So let me get my stitch markers out just to hold your place. So how I would do this is I'm going to lay my pieces on top, so that you would turn this one over and lay it on top. Just like that. And you're going to want to either use stitch markers or pins or however you want to keep the 2 pieces evenly together. I went ahead and used some stitch markers to hold my 2 pieces together. If you want to use pins, you can use pins. Whatever you want to use to hold your 2 pieces together, that's completely up to you. If you want to weave your tails in now, you can do that too. I just left mine hanging until the end. It was just easier to work them all in at the end. At least I felt that that was a little bit easier. Again, that's up to you. Okay, so now that I've got, I'll put one more over here just to keep those together. And one more over in here. Now you don't have to use as many as I did. If you feel you can use a few less, or if you, I just like to make sure it stays nice and together. Now we're going to replace our hook back into our piece. And I'm going to do a chain 3. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to single crochet starting in the first stitch of the front of the dress. So on our second piece. So we have a chain 3, and then we're going to start our first single crochet in that first stitch of the other piece. So let's bring the camera down here. So just in that first stitch right there. And then we're going to just single crochet our way across in one in each stitch. Till you get to the end of that row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row before we connect over to the other piece. I'm at the end of the top front. We're going to chain 3, turn the piece, and we're going to start with a a single crochet on the back front. And continue working one single crochet on each one of these stitches along the back front. Excuse me, back top. All the way till we get to the beginning chain 3, and I'll meet back up with you at the beginning, or when we reach to the end here. I'm at the end of row 1. We now have 64 single crochets and 6 chains, 3 on either end of your piece. To start row 2, or round 2, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch around, so each single around and in each chain. So go ahead and start single crocheting in each stitch. When you get to the chain, make sure you place 1 single crochet into each of the chains. So when you hit the first chain, you're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the chains, so you'll have 3 single crochets, 1 in each chain. Then continue single crocheting. When you get to the second chain, you'll have 1 in each chain. So I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. At the end of round 2, we now have 70 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made. To start round 3, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. We're going to place a single crochet right back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. and 1 single crochet into each stitch around. At the end of this round, we're going to change colors to our purple color, and I will meet back up with you at the end of this round. I'm at the end of round 3. We still have 70 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made. We're going to drop our cream color and we're going to pull up our purple. Normally I would like to put a little bit of a knot in there, but since this is going to end up being on the outside or on the right side of our work, we don't want to put a knot in there. So I'm going to pull these tails to the inside. To start row 4, or round 4, we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work, making sure those tails are now on the inside of our work. And now we're ready to start the skirt part of our dress. So we're going to start off with a V-stitch in the very first stitch, not the one that we slip stitched into, but that first stitch. So you're going to start with a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet right back into that same stitch. I'm going to go ahead and pull those tails to the side. I'll weave those in afterwards. Skip the next stitch and V-stitch into the next. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Again, skip the next stitch, go into the next one, and a V-stitch. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip the next stitch, go into the next, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That's going to be your pattern all the way around till you get back to the beginning. Skip the next stitch, V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip the next stitch and V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 4. We have 35 V-stitches. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. So just get your hook right into the top of that chain 3 and slip stitch. To start round 5, we're going to chain up 3 and we're going to turn the work. So we're now looking at the inside or the wrong side of the work. We're going to put a V-stitch into each chain 1 space. So it's 1 to 1, so 1 V-stitch to 1 V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Jump over to the next V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Next one, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Again, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And you're going to continue working this V-stitch one V-stitch in each V-stitch all the way around till you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of row 5. We still have 35 V-stitches, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. To start round 6, we're going to chain 3 and turn to work. For rounds 6 through round 23, we're just going to keep repeating round 5. So place one V-stitch into each V-stitch. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Again, skip to the next V-stitch, chain, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip to the next V-stitch and double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And we're just going to keep continuing to repeat round 5 for rounds 6 through round 23, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 23. I'm at the end of round 23. We still have 35 V-stitches. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, and we're going to drop our purple, and we're going to pick up our cream color. Let's see right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little knot in these just to hold it together. You can go ahead and snip off your purple at this point. You won't need it again. Now to work the edge, the scalloped edge, we're going to start with a chain 1 and a single crochet into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. So go ahead with a single crochet. Into that first V-stitch, we're going to place 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into the next V-stitch, we're going to single crochet. Into the next V-stitch, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. To the next V-stitch, single crochet. And we're going to continue working this pattern all the way around the dress. So 5 double crochets into the next V-stitch, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 1 single crochet into the next. Please repeat this all the way around to get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it all the way back around to the beginning, and we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made and fasten off. Now that we have our scalloped edge done on the bottom, We're going to go ahead and weave that in. Now we're going to take our purple and we're going to work around the top edge of our dress. So let's get our purple and start working the top edge of the dress and our straps. Now it doesn't matter which side you use as your front side. It could be this side or this side. They are exactly the same, so it doesn't matter. Just pick whichever side you want and open it up, and we're going to go to the 3 stitches here that we had in the middle for the armpit area and go to the middle stitch. So you have 1, 2, and 3. Go to the middle one and attach your yarn. With a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to go back into that stitch with a single crochet. Let's bring this down a little. And then you're just going to go into the next stitch. And then we're at the sides of the rows. So put 1 stitch in each row. Going along the edge of your dress. Now, don't worry if you get 2 stitches or if you get 1, it's okay. As long as they're evenly placed along the edge till you get up to the corner. So as long as they're nice and evenly placed, I don't necessarily worry about the exact stitch count as long as everything looks nice and even. Once you get up to that first stitch here, go ahead and place 3 stitches in that one to round the corner. And then you're going to go 1 along the underside of that first row, that of row 1. You're going to place 1 single crochet into each one of those stitches. And you're going to continue with this all the way around till you get back to the beginning. Make sure that you do the 3 in the corner. Again, like I said, I don't have a specific stitch count to go around. Just make sure that everything looks nice and even all the way around till you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it all the way back around, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made. This yarn's a little splitty, so we need to make sure that we're not splitting the yarn up. And go ahead and fasten off. And we're going to weave that tail in a little bit later. So I can everything lines up nicely. It's more important that everything lines up and looks nice than to have an exact stitch count on either side. So that's why I like to make sure that it looks nice and even versus knowing the exact stitch count. It looks, I just like to make sure it looks nice and even. So now we're going to get ready to do the straps. To start the straps, we're going to start again with a slip knot on our hook. Hold your dress so that the back is facing you, whichever side you choose to be the back. Then let me bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Look at the corner of your dress, and you have those 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Go into the next stitch just after the corner, and that's where you're going to want to attach your yarn. So go ahead and attach it with a slip stitch. Chain 1, and go ahead and put a single crochet right back into that stitch. Work over the tail. So grab your yarn, pull it through, work over the top of that tail, and then in the next 3 stitches you're going to put single crochets. So you're going to have a total of 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. The reason why you want to work over your tail is it brings in that slip stitch so that you're going to have a nice even edge. Now you can leave that tail hanging for right now, and then you can weave it in afterwards. So then chain 1, turn the work, and you're going to repeat with single crochet. So go into that first stitch and go 1, 2, 3, and that 4th stitch, that first stitch. It'll be a little bit tight, but that's okay. Chain 1, turn the work again, and this is your 3rd row. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to continue working single crochet back and forth for approximately 19 rows or 4 inches, whichever comes first. So I will meet back up with you at the end when you have either 4 inches on your strap or row 19, whichever one comes first. Okay, I've got my 4 inches. Before we fasten off, we're going to chain 3 and turn the work. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and in that last stitch we're going to just slip stitch into it and then fasten off. And that's going to give us our little loop for our buttonhole. And let me just pull the camera back here. You're going to repeat this process for the 2nd strap. So let me just straighten up here so you can see. Get a slip knot on my hook. Down so you can see what I'm doing. Here's our corner. Instead of going this way though, we're going to count back. So we have 1, 2, 3. Here is that corner stitch. So here's that first stitch. So we're going to count back the 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go back 5 because we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll leave that, that'll be that 1 extra stitch there. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to start right here with our slip stitch. Chain 1, and we're going to put that single crochet in there into that same stitch, making sure you pull your tail over to crochet over the top of it. And then in the next 3 stitches, put your one single crochet. And then you'll have that 1 stitch before you hit the corner, just like you did on the other side, so that your straps will be evenly placed, as you can see. So continue working your strap till you have 4 inches on this strap. Then you're going to do your chain 3, turn, skip the next 3 stitches, and slip stitch into the last stitch. So you do your chain 3, that tail out of the way, your chain 3, then skip the next 3 stitches and slip stitch into the last stitch to get your loop. And then I'll meet back up with you to show you where to put your buttons, and you'll just have to weave in all your ends. Here is my ends are all woven in, and you're going to put your buttons on just a little bit to the inside so that they line up with your straps. And here's your little button loop right there, and it goes over your button. Now if you find that your buttons are a little tighter, then you can make a little bigger button loop or use a little smaller button. And there is the top part of the dress. Here is the dress all completed, and our buttons are sewn on. Everything is finished. So I just wanted to back out the camera a little bit. Sorry about the little mark on the table. That's my mark where my stand sits. But I wanted to try to back this out so you can get a better look at the whole dress. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that bell so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching and happy crocheting. Bye-bye.